As dawn breaks over Athens, Phidias is already late for work. The year is 432 BC, and he is the chief builder for the Parthenon, Athens' newest and largest temple. When completed, his masterpiece will be an enormous shrine to the goddess Athena and a testament to the glory of the Athenians. But when he arrives on site, he finds 5 epistatae, or city officials, waiting to confront him. They accuse Phidias of embezzling gold designated for the temple's sacred central statue. He has until sundown to provide all the temple's expenses and account for every flake of gold, or face the judgment of the courts. Though he is insulted by these false charges, Phidias isn't surprised. Pericles, the politician who commissioned this Parthenon, has many enemies in city government, and this project can be called somewhat controversial. The public is expecting a classic temple in the Doric style, but Phidias' plans are far more radical by Athenian standards. His designs combine Doric columns with sweeping Ionic frieze, hosting a vast panorama of the city's greatest Panathenaic festival. Not only will this sculpture show humans and gods side by side, something never seen before, it will also cost much more than the traditional approach. Praying to the gods that his colleagues have been keeping track of their spending, Phidias sets off to prove his innocence. First, he checks in with his architects Iktinos and Callicrates. Rather than using a blueprint, they pore over the Syngraphai, or the general plan, and a paradigma, a 3D model. Without an exact blueprint, the team often has to resolve issues in real time, guided only by careful calculation and their instinct for symmetry. Maintaining this symmetry has proven especially difficult. The Parthenon is built on a curve with columns leaning slightly inwards. To project strength and potentially keeping the columns look straight from a distance, the architects incorporated entases, or slightly bulging in each column. For the temple's other elements, the team calculates symmetry by employing relatively consistent proportions across the design, but the shifting plans require constant recalculations. Immense marble blocks for the Parthenon's pediment have just arrived from quarries at Mount Pentelicon. The usual ramps would collapse under the weight of these 2 to 3 ton stone blocks, so Phidias orders the construction of new pulleys. After recording the additional expense and supervising the construction all afternoon, he finally arrives at the sculptor's workshop. His sculptors are carving 92 mythical scenes, or metopes, to decorate the temple. Every carving depicts fighting from different epic battles, each a mythical representation of Greece's victory over Persia about 40 years earlier. No temple has ever used so many metopes before. Finally, Phidias turns to his primary responsibility and the focal point of the entire temple. Covered in thick layers of gold, minutely decorated and towering above her worshippers, this will be a statue of the city's patron and protector, Athena Parthenos. When the temple is complete, throngs will gather on its perimeter, offering prayers, performing sacrifice, and pouring libations for this goddess. Phidias spends the rest of the day designing finishing touches for the statue, and as the light fades, the epistatae arrive to confront him. After looming over his records, they look up triumphantly. Phidias may have accounted for the temple's general spending, but his records show no mention of the statue's gold. At that moment, Pericles himself arrives to save his chief builder. Temple sponsor tells them that all the gold on the statue can be removed and weighed individually to prove Phidias' innocence. Assigning laborers to the task and charging officials to watch them late into the night, Phidias and his patron leave their adversary as it is the end of the day.